Indiana is the best team in the Big Ten. At least they were on Saturday. Michigan and Washington, are they playoff ready? Nebraska's stuck in the middle. I've got something to say about every single Big Ten team. Lockdown Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, here's an idea. Hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. Plus, it helps us, as does sharing, liking, and following. That way, nobody misses a single episode. You can also hype us on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download the app today. So Indiana, by far, was the leader across the Big Ten this weekend. We will assess every team from this weekend, and we have our top 10 Big Ten observations for the weekend. And believe me, there was a lot to choose from. Talk about your favorite team in there as well. But everybody wants to rip Indiana. They're dubious of their lack of schedule strength. Both last year when Curt Cignetti and his team won 11 games, went to the playoffs, and then this year with their 3-week non-conference games to open up the season. But the college football world is going to have to take Indiana seriously moving forward as they are coming off a fantastic weekend where number 9 ranked Illinois came into Bloomington and suffered an embarrassing 63-10 loss at the hands of the Hoosiers. You heard that score right. 63-10 against a top 10 team. Whoa. All right, so what happened? Cignetti, afterward, he said, great. All right, but we got stuff to work on. He's a perfectionist, wants to work on some things. Meanwhile, a stunned Illinois coach, Bret Bielema, said that his team has to own this loss, look themselves in the mirror, and their whole season and identity is going to be based on what they do next. Can they bounce back from this? They got USC coming up next, by the way. But here's your headline. Indiana's win Saturday was the most impressive win of the Big Ten season so far. All Big Ten schools, non-conference, conference, it doesn't matter. And yes, I know you're going, wait a minute. What about Ohio State's win over number 1 Texas, 14-7 in week 1? This win by Indiana was more impressive than the Ohio State win over Texas. First of all, Texas isn't what we thought Texas was going to be. Arch Manning isn't what we thought Arch Manning was going to be. That Heisman hype was completely misguided. Meanwhile, Indiana quarterback and Cal transfer Fernando Mendoza is the one that's now suddenly getting some Heisman whispers, and they're growing louder. In 4 games, he has thrown 14 touchdowns and no interceptions. He is completing a career-high 77% of his passes. He has thrown 5 touchdowns with no interceptions in consecutive games. Now, keep in mind that this week was against the 9th-ranked team in the country. I mean, this wasn't Indiana State like the week before. This was a pretty formidable football team. Illinois is solid. Bret Bielema's team won 10 games last year. They've been ranked in the top 25 for 2 years. And they're considered a playoff contender as well. Maybe not anymore. So, you know, Indiana just dismantled them here. So let's look at this a little more. On Saturday night, in front of a nationally televised audience, Indiana dominated Illinois in every imaginable phase of the game. First of all, they dominated on special teams. D'Angelo Pond had a scoop and score when he blocked the punt, ran it in 11 yards for a touchdown. Indiana dominated this game on offense. After the block punt, they scored on their next 7 possessions. 5 drives were more than 65 yards. IU's offensive line dominated here. Coogan, the guy that got the center they got from Notre Dame, is phenomenal. Indiana's offensive line was already good. Now it's next level good. Indiana's offense outgained Illinois 579 yards to 161. First downs, 31-9. That's a long day for Illinois. It got even longer. Indiana rushed for over 300 yards. This is with a quarterback that threw for 5 touchdowns. They also rushed for over 300 yards. Illinois rushed for 2 yards. That's it. So IU dominated there. They dominated on defense. 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. This is against an offensive line for Illinois that returned 5 starters from last year. So, yeah, IU dominated. 7 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. That was pretty good. Indiana definitely looked like the best team in the Big Ten on Saturday. Now, granted, number 1, Ohio State, they had a bye week. Penn State had a bye week. Oregon and Washington looked really good as well. We'll get to them. We'll discuss them in a minute. But through weekend number 4, Indiana is going to be a problem for people. Next, they play at Iowa. Of course, that'll be a tough road date. But after that, they're at Autzen Stadium against Oregon. That'll be their really big true first test, if you will, to see where they're at. Now, all the doubters will tune in for that one, and we'll see how it goes. All right, would love your comments on it. Am I overhyping Indiana? Am I doing hyperbole? They just destroyed the number 9 team in the country by 53 points. Quick math. Let me know. Hey, maybe you're going to stick to your guns and say, hey, Ohio State's win over number 1 Texas is the best win so far this season. Maybe. Meanwhile, we had another benchmark game to see where everybody's at when Michigan went to Nebraska in front of the 406 consecutive sellout in Lincoln. That's impressive. Both of these teams are trying to jump from the upper middle tier and get into that playoff chase and kind of gauge where they're at compared to years past. Both kind of rebuilding a little bit. So we'll see if they can get into the upper echelon. Michigan won the game 30-27. I said during our live broadcast on Saturday night that during the first half, I actually thought Nebraska was the better football team, and they just didn't realize it. I don't know if they thought, whoa, we're playing Michigan. They left some scoring opportunities on the field. They didn't cash in. And it was just long enough for Michigan to kind of wake up, get involved in the game, get that running game going. There was a Dylan Raiola Hail Mary at the end of the half for 52 yards with no time left on the clock. That tied the score at 17. But as the game went on, Michigan started warming up, getting that ground game going. By the way, before the half, they had the 75-yard run by Justice Haynes. That was a second 75-yard touchdown of the season. But Michigan started stringing first downs together after not being able to do it much in the first half. They got it going in the second half. Jordan Marshall had a 54-yard run. Bryce Underwood had a wide open 37-yard run. The quarterback just stepped back and then just ran. Man-to-man coverage opened up the field untouched. There wasn't even another Nebraska player in the frame on the TV watching them run in there. Now, Underwood passed for a modest 105 yards. Again, Michigan just dominated on the ground. Dylan Raiola, pretty good day through the air. If you look at the stats, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have an interception, but the Wolverines' defensive line was all over him. Raiola performed at the level he performed while also getting sacked 9 times. And they had 9 tackles for loss. So it was a rough day. In the end, Michigan looks like a team that can continue to improve. I believe it was 7 sacks and 9 tackles for loss. I think that's what the case. Still, mind-blowing, right? Mind-blowing. So Michigan looks like a team that can continue to improve. I think I've seen some things each week here that they could do offensively. Plus, Sherrone Moore comes back from his 2-game suspension, self-imposed suspension. He was eligible at like midnight Saturday night when his team got back. They will have a bye week, and they will face a dysfunctional Wisconsin team coming up. Meanwhile, Nebraska, they suffer that all too familiar close 1-score loss. That's going to hold them back from jumping up to that next level. This went back to Scott Frost. It's happening with Matt Rule. I believe they've had 36 1-score losses since 2018. That's tough for Huskers fans. And again, a 3-point game. Like, hey, we're good. We're close. We didn't win. There's a lot of that going on. They've got a bye, and they got Michigan State coming up next. Anyway, comments. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you, Huskers fans, Michigan fan, Indiana fan. Are you the best? Want to hear from all of you here in the comment section. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button, and you'll never miss a single episode. If you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten as well. Don't forget to check out our website at talkbig10.com. All right. Plenty of scoring from our West Coast teams in the Big Ten. And Oregon, Washington, USC, all put some points on the board here this weekend. And Luke Fickell and Wisconsin, they got some problems. We'll talk about every single team that played. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Quick question for you. Remember in the good old days when you would go to a college football game and you remember what you wore when you sat maybe in a good seat watching a big rivalry game? What hat were you wearing? Yeah, I'm curious because of the game. Okay, I'm going to tell you what this is all about. They're not just hats. They're they're the same vintage style hats that we all wore back in the 80s and the 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price that they were in the 80s and the 90s if you get take care of this deal here that I'm about to give you. You can use the code locked on and get the vintage hat for $16.99. I'm going to show you here. I cover out the Big Ten, but I am an Indiana grad. So they sent me, look at these beauties. I'm going to put them on screen for your audio only. It's the detail with the old fashioned logos. I got white and red, home and away. They sent them to me. You can get them for $16.99 with the code locked on. So head to thegamecaps.com, thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use the code locked on for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Don't forget our website, Talk Big Ten, as well. Subscribe, share, follow. That helps us out as well. All right, let's mix it up. Let's talk about all the other teams in the Big Ten from this weekend. Maryland rolled into Camp Randall. Remember when Camp Randall used to be an almost impossible place to win? Not lately. Not lately. There were fire Fickle chants. Luke Fickle on the hot seat at Camp Randall. The fans have turned on him. Look, Camp Randall used to be one of the most boisterous, loud home field advantages in the Big Ten. You could hear a pin drop on Saturday as Maryland, with their freshman quarterback, Malik Washington, who's very good, by the way, did whatever he wanted. It's 20-0 at halftime as the team was leaving. Fire Fickle. Fire Fickle. By the way, Malik Washington off to another hot start. The number one recruit in Maryland, doing a great job for the Terps. Had 2 touchdown passes to Shalik Knotts, one a 62-yarder, ran for another one. Maryland has matched its win total from last year. They're 4-0. They've outscored opponents 130-36 in those 4 games. Octavian Smith Jr. had 6 catches, 113 yards. Jalen Husky had a 46-yard interception return to set up a score. They've got like 8 interceptions at Maryland. They had 6 sacks. They blocked a field goal. They blocked a punt. I mean, it was a mess at Wisconsin on their end, and Maryland did everything right. Billy Edwards Jr., the former Terps quarterback, wanted to play against his former team. He gave it a go. He's been out for the last 2 weeks because he injured his knee. Couldn't do it. Danny O'Neill came back in. They got problems. We have another Locked On Big Ten podcast here on this channel today, in which we'll go through the Fickle situation, the buyout, what's likely to happen. But the problem here is their schedule is brutal. Their next 7 games, they could lose them. They could lose their next 7 games. Oregon beating Oregon State 41-7. This series has been going on since 1894. Both teams exchanged touchdowns early, kind of a slow start, 2 weeks in a row for Oregon. And then it was just, they took off. Dante Moore, 305 yards passing, a career-high 5 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers, a career-high 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. Offense had 585 yards. No concern, no sacks or interceptions from the defense, but small issue. For now, they're going to need some help in their next game, Saturday at Penn State, rematch of the Big Ten championship game and a whiteout. It'll be the night game on NBC, 7:30. So naturally, we're going to go live after that game, probably about 11 o'clock Saturday night. We'll do another live podcast here on Locked On Big Ten. Mark your calendar for that. Purdue hung for a little while against Notre Dame, but then Notre Dame beat them 56-30. 2 weeks in a row, Purdue had to deal with a long weather delay. And then it was all Notre Dame from that point on. Ryan Brown threw for 250 yards for the Boilers, threw a touchdown, threw an interception. Devin Mockabee, the running back, 12 carries, 16 yards. What's going on there? Notre Dame shut him down. Meanwhile, Notre Dame ran for 254 yards and 281 yards passing. So the Boilermakers now, with this game against Notre Dame and, of course, USC the week before, have given up 995 yards of offense in the last 2 weeks. They're on a bye week. They're going to need it. The Apple Cup, Washington beat Washington State 59-24. Jamal Williams Jr. had 4 touchdown passes. He ran for another score, 298 yards passing, 88 yards on the ground. Washington had 471 total yards of offense. Jonah Coleman did Jonah Coleman things. Only rushed for 59 yards, but a couple of touchdowns. But he received 104 yards. They threw to him out of the backfield and had another touchdown. Denzel Boston, steady as always, 2 touchdowns on 107 yards. Alex McLaughlin had 2 interceptions in that game, including a 47-yard pick six. The Huskies actually scored on every possession, so they have opened the season. You may not be aware of this. They've opened the season with their scoring streak of 21 straight drives. They score every time they touch the ball. And they scored touchdowns on 7 of the 8 scoring drives against Washington State. Really took it out on them. And now Washington looks like they're fine-tuned, ready to go. They host the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State, coming in there this weekend, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on CBS. Michigan State, I thought, had a valiant effort at USC. USC was just too much. Out west, this was a super late game on Saturday. You might have missed it. The kickoff was 11 o'clock Eastern on the East Coast. USC won 45-31, and the Trojans seemed to have this game wrapped up until they didn't, and then they did again. Michigan State made it close later on. Jade Maeva threw 3 touchdown passes and rushed for 2 more. Wayman Jordan's rushed for 157 yards. Mekhi Lemon had 127 yards receiving. He caught a touchdown, and he ran for another. And the Trojans racked up 517 yards, topping 460 for the 4th straight game. They got Illinois next. And I don't know which Illinois team is going to come out and play them, the one that just got decimated by Indiana or the one that was ranked 9th in the country. Now, you may have also missed, there was a scary moment in this game. It actually stopped for 10 minutes right before the half. Spartans player Wayne Matthews had to be transported out by cart off of the field. Reports are he did finally gain some movement. And in fact, the team didn't leave till the next day to come back home on Sunday, yesterday. And he was released and he was better and he was able to fly home with his teammates. Great news in case you missed the update on his health for Wayne Matthews. And he tweeted out, hey, I'll be back and better sooner than later and all that good stuff. Spartans quarterback and Long Beach native Aiden Childs threw 3 touchdown passes and ran for another in front of a lot of friends and family. Accounted for 243 of Michigan State's 333 total yards in this game. And let us not forget about Friday. Iowa went to Rutgers, and this was a high-flying, high-scoring affair. We did tell you to take the over on the Pigskin Picks on Friday, and I know it's hard to look at an Iowa game and say take the over. But Rutgers this is the first game Rutgers hasn't scored over 30 points in like 8 games, and they scored 28. And it was Iowa that was able to put up some points. 38-28, Iowa wins. And Mark Gronowski was able to get some passing yards. Remember, he had not cracked 100 yards and finally threw for 186 yards. No touchdowns or no picks, though. Iowa did rush for 160 yards on the day. Caden Weegan opened the game up with a kickoff return of 100 yards for a score. He also had a 43-yard punt return at the half. Jackson Rexroth had an interception in this game. And for Rutgers, Ethan Kaliak-Manis had 330 yards, didn't get a touchdown, had an interception. And Ian Strong, who had been hurt, got 8 catches and 151 yards. So good to see him back to form. So in the 3 games he's played, he's got over 100 yards receiving, weeks 1 and 2, and now here in week 4. So very good. So that's it in a nutshell. Did we miss anything? Let me know. Hit me up in the comments what you think about your favorite team in the Big Ten so far. And coming up, we always like to have features. Mondays is one of my favorites. It's our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. We'll see if your favorite player or your favorite team made the list. And we'll do that because Mondays, top 10 Big Ten. Tuesdays, tomorrow we do Tuesday tweets. Send me a tweet on X. I'll get it on the show for tomorrow's podcast. Wednesdays, we like the power rank stuff. We'll power rank 1 through 18, how we see the conference. I know Indiana's going to move up. I'm going to tell you that right now. Illinois is going to move down. We'll see where everybody else goes on that list. That's on Wednesday. Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network. We have similar interests. We look at what they have live and their Big Ten classics. Point them out to you. And then on Fridays, we go on the record and make our pigskin picks. And when I'm right, I'm going to remind you, like I said, take the over with Iowa and Rutgers. All right. So we got all that coming up. Our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. That's next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Well, we're going. The NFL season is here and the excitement is here. And you get excited because you're a passionate fan. Well, you can make the excitement even more exciting with FanDuel. FanDuel is making sure that you're ready to kick off the rest of this season with an offer you can't miss. All right, right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And they got everything: point spreads, totals, money line, player props, futures. You want to call, the big game in February, you got it. You're good to go. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Again, at FanDuel.com. You probably go to a lot of different businesses in your neighborhood. You like them. They're comfortable. You're used to them. They know your name there. Well, they're probably run on Square. That's right. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. Those certain businesses that have your order ready before you walk in the door. They know your name. Your friends and neighbors meet there as well, whether it be the butcher shop, the coffee shop, the grocery store, the restaurant, all that stuff right there. Businesses like this thrive with Square. So Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See ya in the neighborhood. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten, and it is time for our daily feature. Today on Mondays, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend, so I'm going to put these on. These are loosely grouped 10 through 1, but I'll put them up here and go full screen. If you're audio only on, say, Spotify or Apple, we're running a list. We're feathering it in 10 through 1. At number 10, I am going to talk about Maryland quarterback Malik Washington. True freshman, just like Bryce Underwood, who gets all the attention. Same size as Bryce Underwood. They're both 6'4", 6'5", 230 pounds. They both have rocket arms. Malik Washington looks a little more comfortable than Bryce Underwood throwing the ball, and I think he's phenomenal. Threw two touchdown passes to Shalik Knotts. One was a 62-yarder in this game, and went on the road, Big Ten road game, true freshman, and throttled the Badgers. Yeah, he makes our list here at number 10. Let's see what else we have here. At number 9, Jamal Williams Jr., another exciting quarterback. This one from Washington. He had 4 touchdown passes and ran for another score against Washington State. He is the player that I said would be the breakout player of the Big Ten this year that we're going to pay attention to. If you haven't, you need to. He's a very good quarterback, and he's got weapons around him like Jonah Coleman at running back, who he also throws to. You got Boston at wide receiver, got a big line in front of them. They are going to put up a huge amount of points. They haven't been stopped yet. I don't think they've punted. They haven't punted yet. They've scored on every drive this year. Who is the punter for Washington? You know what? That's a little quiz I may have to figure that out. Also with Washington, Alex McLaughlin. We like to highlight defensive players when we can, and he had 2 interceptions against Washington State, and including one was a 47-yard pick six. So we like to highlight that. Good job by him. He makes our top 10. Elsewhere, we have Justice Haynes, one of the running backs that Michigan uses. He had a 75-yard touchdown late in the first half against Nebraska to put them up 17-10. And then Nebraska had the Hail Mary at the end of the half to tie that game at 17. But he also had a 75-yard run on the first play of the third quarter against Oklahoma, too. So big play capability. It was a lot of fun to watch unless you were a Huskers fan. So it makes the list. Justice Haynes, the transfer from Alabama, fitting in nicely for the Michigan Wolverines. Number 6, Makai Lemon, USC, one of their great receivers out there. He had 127 yards receiving against Michigan State. He caught a touchdown. He ran for another. He makes amazing catches. Jade Maeva was probably his favorite target. He's got a couple to choose from there. And he looked really good again this weekend, so he makes our list as well. At number 5, if you're going to return an opening kickoff 100 yards, you're going to make our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. That's exactly what he did. Opening kickoff, 100 yards for the touchdown against Rutgers, setting the tone in what was a high-flying game. And look, Iowa, they're not going to have the flashiest offense, right? They didn't have any touchdown passes again, relying on a running game. And look, it's not like they tore it up. I mean, but they did well. They rushed for 160 yards. but they rely on defense, and I guess holding Rutgers to just 28 points. That is good defense. Rutgers usually scores over 30, and they always have special teams. Usually it's a great punter that could flip the field. You get some returns. I was watching Cooper DeJean today with Sunday with the Eagles, and this is next man up. So Caden Weegan, 100 yards, makes our list. What else we got here? Let's see our top 4. Oh, let's start with the Indiana defense. 7 sacks and 9 tackles for loss against Illinois. Got to give them a shout out. That was pretty good. And then D'Angelo Pons for Indiana, who blocked a punt, knocked it down and scooped it up and scored from 11 yards out. So Indiana defense, Indiana special teams. Oh, yeah. Indiana offense as well. Fernando Mendoza, back-to-back games with 5 touchdown passes this week. 5 touchdown passes, 63 points. Well, they didn't have the special team scores. So quick math, 56 points, right? And a win against the number 9 team in the country. There's Heisman talk now for Mendoza. And then at number 1, I'll put Dylan Raiola. That Hail Mary was pretty sweet. Interesting at the end of that, it seemed like Matt Rule and his offensive coordinator, Dana Holgerson, couldn't agree whether to burn clock or to make a play. And then Michigan probably should have called a timeout to force the issue and make them punt instead of a Hail Mary. So, but by the time they were able to wind the clock down, call a timeout, play enough time for one more play, and then Michigan would not get the ball back. They get the Hail Mary and they score. So Dylan Raiola, Hail Mary. That's our number 1 on our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. What'd you think? What'd I leave off? Let me know. Always like to hear from you on that stuff. Always like to hear from you anyway. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten, number 10. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com, for all of our podcasts. Go back and check out our instant live recap. They're recorded now. They're not live anymore, from Saturday after all the big games. That's always fun. Before you go, if you could hit that subscribe button, that would be great. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten as well, that would be great. I also want to take this opportunity to tell you something else that the Locked On family is doing. And Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll, who does a great job with Locked On Big 12, is the host. He is joined by 2-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, and former college star Jesse Holley. And then all of our Locked On hosts join and preview games. You don't want to miss this. It's great insight. It looks really good, too, if you're watching on video. The college football preview that only Locked On could do. Catch the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. That'll do it for us. Thanks for joining us. I can't wait till we talk again tomorrow for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. See you next time.